No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a rare dual recap. I will be discussing the November 6th edition of AEW Dynamite and also the November 6th Wednesday edition of WWE NXT, which took place in Philadelphia at the 2300 Arena, formerly the ECW Arena. Now, before we get started, I would like to thank everybody for watching, whether it's live or on demand. This is a rare occasion to do a dual recap. So if you enjoy this stream, please give it a thumbs up, tell a friend, spread the word about the No DQ YouTube channel. I will be starting with Dynamite. I will give my thoughts on Dynamite, and then we will move over to NXT on the CW network. Now, Dynamite kicked off with Tony Schiavone bringing out the Hurt Syndicate, formerly the Hurt Business, Bobby Lashley, MVP, and Shelton Benjamin. MVP put over the athletic backgrounds of Benjamin and Lashley. He talked about how their goal is to uplift people and make them realize their fullest potential. If he hands somebody a business card, it is their golden ticket to success. But if they reject it, MVP showed what the consequences were or would be. We saw the footage of what happened to Swerve Strickland last week when Lashley made his debut. Now, Swerve was there. Swerve interrupted the promo. He had a chain. He was ready to fight, but we had the officials out there. Swerve made it short and sweet. He wants Bobby Lashley at Full Gear, and MVP officially accepted the match. This is going to be a hell of a match. MVP confirming it, accepting on behalf of Bobby Lashley. So we will have Lashley versus Swerve Strickland at the Full Gear pay-per-view event. I'm looking forward to it. Solid segment here. Hurt Syndicate, they're looking great in the suits. MVP knows what to say on the mic. Simple, straight to the point. I really enjoyed it. Strong start to the show. We had an Orange Cassidy and Jon Moxley video package to hype up their World Championship match at Full Gear. We had the Death Riders. They are officially the Death Riders. No more Blackpool Combat Club. We had Pac and Claudio. They got new music. They got a new logo. They had a match with Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin. Now, the fight started by the ramp. You had Darby Allin jumping off the tunnel. So we had chaos right from the get-go. They were brawling around ringside. And then we finally had the match officially started in the ring. It was a straightforward match for a bit. Then Darby made his comeback. Riders regained control. They double-teamed Darby. And then eventually Orange Cassidy tagged in. Wheeler Yuta attempted to interfere, but he got hit with the orange punch. But then Marina Shafir kicked the referee. Then Jon Moxley showed up, choked out Orange Cassidy. Darby Allin came in, hit Moxley with the skateboard, but then Wheeler and Pac got in there. Darby fought them off with the skateboard, but then Claudio finally caught Darby with an uppercut. And at this point, the match had been called off due to the outside interference. We had the Conglomeration coming out there to make the save. And then we had a video package shown to hype up some upcoming AEW live events. They're calling it November to Remember. I guess that's not owned by WWE, since WWE gained all the ECW intellectual property. Now, we had a backstage interview with Renee Paquette talking to Ricochet. He's keeping his partner a secret. And then the Hurt Syndicate approached him, and MVP wished Ricochet good luck in the main event. More on that in just a few moments. And then we got back in the ring. We had the Conglomeration, Ishii, Kyle O'Reilly, and Mark Briscoe in the ring to face the Learning Tree. This felt very WWE-like, the DQ for matters. That is something we typically don't see on AEW, although I feel like they're utilizing DQs more often than they were the first several years of the company's existence. And then having the Conglomeration stand around while there were backstage segments and then they're in the ring, that felt very WWE-like as well. I did like the tag match, but the DQ, it was a bit long just to do a DQ finish, in my opinion. We did have this 6-man fight without honor match, which was basically a hardcore match. We had lots of tables being utilized. The Bad Apple and Kyle, I was almost going to say Fletcher, Kyle O'Reilly, they went through the table that was set up on the outside of the ring. They came off the apron, crashed through it, and we had a Jade driller to Jericho. Mark Briscoe climbed up a ladder. Jericho had been placed on a table, and Briscoe came off the top with the flying elbow, but the Bad Apple broke it up. And there was a backstage thing where you had, I just blanked out on his name, Big Bill, Kyle O'Reilly. They fought in the concession area and 2 tables were set up. They ended up putting each other through the tables, and then back in the ring, after Briscoe came off the top with the flying elbow, then Brian Keith came in. Briscoe went after Brian Keith, and then Ishii came in, hit Jericho with a brain buster, and got the 1-2-3 victory. So Ishii pinned Chris Jericho. This has to be the first time that Ishii has won a match on Dynamite in quite some time. He usually doesn't. Jericho put him over. Mark Briscoe did not get the win over Jericho. Ishii did. Jericho probably wanted to do the honors for Ishii. It is what it is. It was an entertaining match for what it was. I'm glad the Learning Tree group lost this one. It was a fun little hardcore match. I did enjoy it for what it was. I don't really care that Ishii was the one that beat Jericho. I mean, at this point, beating Jericho means nothing. I mean, Jericho has put over so many people, to his credit, but usually doesn't go anywhere. I mean, remember when Action Andretti beat Chris Jericho? Just saying. We then had a backstage promo from Jon Moxley, and he hyped up Full Gear. He also called Darby Allin a disappointment. He said Wheeler Yuta is his soldier under his command, and then they left the building. I thought, of all the stuff we've seen with the Death Riders, I think this was maybe their best week yet. They didn't do anything goofy with the B team, with the Dark Order. So for me, that was automatically a thumbs up for this week. Better than what they've been doing. They got new music. They got the new name. I still hope we get like a really good reason for why they're doing everything. Maybe Shane McMahon gets involved, although I'm not expecting it at this point. This was an improvement, though, over some of the stuff we've seen the last couple of weeks. Now we had Adam Cole, baby, versus Malakai Black. Very reminiscent of NXT, the Black and Gold era. It was a back and forth competitive match, and Malakai Black took control for a while. Then Cole regained the upper hand, went for the boom shot, but he got caught with the end kick from Malakai Black, the Black Mass. Cole was able to kick out of that. Then Cole busted out the Panama Sunrise. He had some super kicks, and at this point, Malakai Black had accepted his fate, and he was finished off with the boom shot. Adam Cole gets the 1-2-3 victory clean. Not surprised here whatsoever. You know, Cole's got to win all the matches to get an opportunity against MJF at Full Gear. Now, here's what was very interesting. So after the match, Malakai Black went over to Adam Cole and gave him a hug. Then he left the ring. Adam Cole got on the mic and put over Malakai Black, and then Malakai Black, like, basically soaked in the crowd reaction, and this certainly felt like a departure. And there's a lot of rumors about Malakai Black. You know, there's been talk about his contract, that it's possibly coming up relatively soon, maybe early 2025. Could this be his swan song? Was this his swan song in AEW? Is he going back to WWE to be with his wife, Zelina Vega? We'll see what happens. I mean, this certainly felt like maybe the end of Malakai Black in AEW. We'll see on that. And then afterwards, Adam Cole brought up how this deal where him and Roderick Strong have to win 3 matches to get a match with MJF. He talked to Tony Khan, and if both of them win 3 matches, it will be a 3-way at Full Gear, which means the Undisputed Kingdom will be able to definitely kick MJF's ass in a 2-on-1 situation. And I'm not sure what happens to the House of Black. I mean, Buddy Matthews, I feel, is criminally underused. You could say the same about Brody King. Maybe it's time to give them some singles runs. We'll see. MJF was pissed off. They showed him at his house. He made a phone call, and he said that he needs to pay somebody a visit. More on that in just a few moments. Backstage, we had Adam Page attacking Jay White during White's promo. They fought out into the arena. Hangman was going to use a steel chair, but then Juice Robinson took it away. White was able to fight off Adam Page, and then he got on the mic and hyped up their match coming up at Full Gear. It was basic, but good segment here to build up some heat for that match. Then we had a very bizarre segment. So you had Chris Statlander backstage with Renee Paquette, and then all of a sudden Camille and Mercedes drove up and attempted to run over Chris Statlander, but they were not successful. And then she fought with them. She slammed Mercedes on the car, got the upper hand, and then officials came out there and finally broke things up with them. Not the best acting in this segment, I'll say that much. We then had Christian Cage come into the ring with the Patriarchy. He officially welcomed Kip Sabian into the group. He said Kip Sabian was a fatherless loser, just looking for guidance. And then Christian brought up how Kip saved him from losing his not Money in the Bank contract because you had the Death Riders ready to cash in. We then had Hook come out there wanting to know why Christian attacked Taz, said he doesn't have much patience. He demanded an answer, and Christian said that Hook is a wild card, and Hook needs a father figure, and Christian needs a son like Hook. He said that he couldn't have the other voice in Hook's ear. So Taz, Hook's dad, had to be taken care of. But Christian noted that Taz knew Christian was the attacker. There was no mystery. They didn't need to show the footage. The reason Taz kept it a secret is because Taz realizes that it's Christian who can take Hook to new heights. And Christian asked this question: does Hook want to be an announcer like Taz ended up being, or does Hook want to be a multiple-time world champion like Christian? And then Christian said he wishes Taz was dead. And that's when Hook went after them. Christian's security got in there. Hook ended up taking them out, applying the red rum to one of them. So right now, Hook is not accepting Christian's offer to be a fatherly figure. It was a pretty entertaining segment. I mean, I feel like Hook is kind of just treading water in AEW. Like they don't know if they want to push him as a top guy. You know, they kind of just have him somewhere in the middle. Remember when he took it to Samoa Joe and took him to the limit? I mean, they never really followed up on that. I feel like they don't really want to fully pull the trigger on Hook. So, you know, he's been feuding for the FTW title. Now he's doing the thing with Christian. And yes, at one point, Christian did mention the ECW run of Taz, which is funny because NXT was in the ECW arena, and more on that in just a few moments. Don't forget, I'll also be recapping NXT. Stay tuned for that very shortly. So backstage, Don Callis was approached with an envelope, and he also got the Dynamite diamond ring. There was money and the ring. It was from MJF. MJF wants Don Callis to take care of the baby. And it was later revealed that Takeshita will face Adam Cole next week on Dynamite. So that will be Cole's third match. Can he beat Takeshita to get the opportunity at MJF? We then had our women's match. 9:40 time slot. No surprise here. Penelope Ford versus Jamie Hayter. And it was a competitive match. Penelope Ford just returned recently. She dominated early on, but then Jamie was able to avoid the moonsault. She had a brainbuster, went for her Haterade lariat, but Ford was able to counter it with a cutter. However, she could not finish off Jamie, and then Jamie finally countered Ford and got the win with the lariat. Not much else to say about it. Pretty basic match here. Jamie Hayter picks up a win. Penelope Ford not really going anywhere. You know, she's back, but not really in the future booking plans right now. You know, you got the TBS title situation, and as far as the other storyline with Mariah May, well, Mina Shirakawa, she's coming. Just like Val Venus, she's coming. She's coming next week. And there was a QR code. And the QR code takes you to something about Toni Storm. Where is Toni Storm? So they're teasing Toni Storm's return. And not sure where Jamie Hayter even fits in all this. But yeah, Penelope Ford definitely got her return to TV, but not much else going on with her. We had a video package for Okada. They're hyping up the Continental Classic. They're going to do that whole tournament again. I don't really care about it, but whatever. Some people like it, and more power to them. We had our main event, Takeshita and Kyle Fletcher versus Ricochet and a mystery partner. Ricochet got on the mic and revealed that the contract of this mystery partner, he was with the Don Callis family, but the contract expired, and he brought out Powerhouse Hobbs, officially returning after being gone for like 6 months or so. Powerhouse Hobbs came back, looked pretty damn good in this match. He was impressive. He got to do some moves. And at one point, Ricochet got on Hobbs' shoulders, hit a moonsault to the outside of the ring. Eventually, though, the bad guys were able to get the upper hand for a while. But then Takeshita went back and forth with Ricochet. They had a doomsday device to Ricochet. Ricochet kicked out. And then Hobbs came back in, took out Fletcher, and then even took a bullet for Ricochet. Ricochet then hit a shooting star to Takeshita. Takeshita kicked out. And then Ricochet recovered from that, picked up the win, pinning Takeshita with his move, the split gun, kind of like his own running lariat. Interesting finish here, considering Takeshita's being built up for Adam Cole, and he loses here to Ricochet. Now, in this match, there was really no good person to take the fall here. Like, Will Hobbs came back. You can't have him losing. They're building up Fletcher for Ospreay, so Fletcher can't lose. Ricochet, you just signed him. Would be silly for him to lose. So Takeshita was the odd man out, but was kind of weird to have him lose when he's facing Adam Cole next week. He's supposed to be this hired gun, and he just got beat here by Ricochet. But the match was good. Hobbs looked good. And then afterwards, Fletcher, there was a post-match attack. Fletcher grabbed the screwdriver, and then we had the return of Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay ran down. Good guys cleared the ring. Hobbs hit a spine buster. You had Lance Archer and Brian Cage. They had come out there after the match. They were taken out. And then Ospreay was about to hit Fletcher with the hidden blade, but Fletcher was able to escape at the last minute. So you got that angle to set up their match. I presume that's at Full Gear. And all in all, I do think it was a good Dynamite. I feel like they were focused with building up the matches. Oh, I forgot to mention Mark Davis. I mean, he's kind of an afterthought with all the other stuff that was happening. But yeah, Mark Davis is back, and he's against Kyle Fletcher. He's on the good guys team for now. We'll see if that lasts. There could always be a swerve with that. All in all, I did think it was a good Dynamite. Solid wrestling. I like the Hurt Business. I mean, there really wasn't too much that I didn't like. There was more than I liked than didn't like. I give it a solid B. Good Dynamite this week. Nice build up for Full Gear. The Full Gear card is shaping up nicely. I just don't care about Moxley and Orange Cassidy. I feel like they got more work to do with that one. The triple threat idea is interesting. Like, I can't imagine it's MJF versus Roderick Strong. Like, that would be such a lackluster match for the pay-per-view. The triple threat seems interesting, so we'll see what they do with that. We got a few more weeks until Full Gear. Now, let's move over to NXT. At the ECW Arena, now known as the 2300 Arena, they did an old school VHS tape intro for ECW featuring NXT stars. Pretty cool stuff here. Our first match was Lola Vice versus Jaida Parker with special guest referee Dawn Marie, former WWE and ECW personality. She was looking great for her age, and it was a very entertaining match. Hardcore match. Lots of cool stuff in this one. Women did very good in this. Lola Vice hit this spinning back fist with a chair right off the bat in the early moments. And she did the Three Amigos, including a DDT on the chairs. You had chairs out there. You had a ladder. You had trash cans. And then Jaida did this move called the teardrop, which is like a butt drop. She came off this ladder, and Lola had been laid out on another ladder in the corner, and she came off with this butt drop, teardrop, whatever you're calling it, and broke the ladder. And Jaida was eventually able to get the win on Lola. Very solid match to kick off the show. And then we had Ethan Page at the Rocky statue in Philadelphia, cutting a promo with Ridge Holland. We then had Kelani Jordynne and RVD backstage, Rob Van Dam. They were chatting, they were stretching, but then Wes Lee attacked RVD with a steel chair, left him laying. So we were wondering what was going to happen with RVD. More on that in just a few moments. We had some footage that was shown. We had the family, Tony D'Angelo and the family, confronted by the FBI, Nunzio and Tony Mamaluke. Where was Big Vito? I'm mad that Big Vito didn't get the invite for this show. Shame on WWE for that one. Vito should have been here for this. But anyways, Nunzio was pissed because he called Tony D'Angelo, never got a call back, and he challenged Tony to a match for the North American Championship on NXT. We had Wes Lee versus Javon Evans, which was a really good match, very fast-paced, had vibes of Will Ospreay and Ricochet, especially early on. They were countering each other, doing the cartwheels and the flips and everything. And then Lee took control. He gave Javon Evans a brain buster on the steel steps. And then back in the ring, Javon made a comeback, came off the top with a Hurricane Rana. And then Javon Evans went up top and did this insane top rope cutter. Like, he got some serious airtime jumping off the top, taking out Wes with a cutter. But Wes was able to roll out of the ring and regain the upper hand. But then he went for a steel chair. And then at this point, no surprise here, they kind of planted the seeds for it earlier. Rob Van Dam shows up to counteract Wes Lee, get a little bit of payback. And then Javon Evans hits another cutter. And then he comes off the top with a frog splash. He tried to make it almost all the way to the other side of the ring. Wasn't the best looking splash, in my opinion. He tried to go so far, he really had to overshoot just to hit the move. But he did pick up the win. And then RVD got in the ring, put over Evans, raised his hand. Pretty cool moment. So yeah, Javon Evans getting the rub from Randy Orton, getting the rub from Rob Van Dam. Pretty cool for him. Very good match. We then had Ava and Robert Stone in the ring, and they announced the return of the Iron Survivor Challenge at NXT Deadline. That will take place Minneapolis, Minnesota on Saturday, December 7th. That's the next premium live event for NXT, the final one of the year, Deadline. And then Robert Stone started trashing Philadelphia. He said Boston has more hardcore fans than Philadelphia. And guess who showed up? The lights went out, and this was a complete surprise. Former ECW star, former WWE star, and TNA Hall of Famer. I was there at Bound for Glory for his induction. Rhino showed up in the ring, and he took out Robert Stone with the gore. Nice little feel-good moment. Fun cameo here from Rhino. Definitely not expected this. Cool moment here to see Rhino back in a WWE ring. Then backstage, we had a promo segment here to set up the 10-woman main event. They were getting the main event segment. You got Jordynne Grace, Giulia, Stephanie Vaquer, Kelani Jordynne, and ZARIA, who just debuted. Then they were approached by Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson. They've been appearing on the main roster. They brought up how they almost won the tag team titles at Crown Jewel, and they wished the ladies luck in their tag team match. We had our tag team match. Trick Williams, the NXT champion, and Bubba Ray Dudley versus Ethan Page and Ridge Holland. Bubba came out there in the camouflage with the glasses. He had an extra pair of glasses he gave to Booker T. Booker T, an honorary member of the Dudley Boys. That was a little fun moment. And the match was fine, pretty basic match here. Bubba did get in there and do some moves. Then bad guys got the upper hand on him for a while. Bubba was able to spear Ethan Page. Then Trick Williams came in, did the hot tag, but then out of nowhere, Ridge Holland rolled up Trick Williams and got the 1-2-3 victory. So with the fruit roll up, Ridge Holland beats Trick Williams. I guess we know who Trick Williams' next challenger is. The fight continued after the match. good guys got the upper hand, and Ethan Page. See, there's just too many pages in wrestling. Ethan Page got the what's up headbutt. And speaking of what's up, we got Devon. Devon showed up. Bubba wanted the tables, and there's only one man that can bring the tables, and that was Devon. He came out there with the table, brought it into the ring, and then Bubba and Trick Williams put Page through the table. The OG Dudley boys and Trick Williams celebrate. So they got their moment, and it was entertaining. Yeah, Bubba can't really do much, and Devon, barely could get that table down to ringside. But, it was cool to see them. It was nostalgia. It was fun. I'm glad they did it. It was a nice moment. And then we had Tony D'Angelo versus Nunzio. Nunzio was quite skinny, but in pretty good shape for his age. He got in some offense. He did a few things, did a missile drop kick, busted out the Sicilian slice. And then we had the outside interference. Tony Mama Luke gave Nunzio brass knuckles, and then the family gave Tony D'Angelo the crowbar. And then Tony D'Angelo pulled an Eddie Guerrero. He threw the crowbar at Nunzio, and the referee's looking at Nunzio. Nunzio's like, I'm not doing anything bad here. And then Tony D'Angelo was able to take advantage of this. He picked up the win over Nunzio. And yeah, I like the moment with Nunzio at the end. Nunzio was, when he got hoisted up and he was done for, he did the little prayer before he got dropped. That was entertaining. It was fun. It was a fun little moment. Again, nostalgia. It's old school ECW stuff. How did I manage to see NXT and AEW? With great difficulty. I mean, I was trying to watch them both simultaneously, and then during AEW's commercials, I would also try to get through NXT as well. So I strategically had a plan, managed to get through both of them. But yeah, this was fun. The whole show was really fun. Like, it was a nice nostalgic moment, but they also managed to showcase the NXT talent and use the ECW brand to give the NXT stars the rub. And then after the match, there was the handshake. Tony D'Angelo hugged Nunzio. Nice little feel-good moment there. Then we had the main event, and there was also a segment with William Regal and his son, the Heritage Cup. I actually missed most of that. So, yeah, I didn't catch every single thing on the show, but I did see a brief glimpse of that. And then we had Francine, who also was looking good for her age. She was out there in the front row for the main event. So it was a 10-woman tag team match. Roxanne Perez, Cora Jade, Fatal Influence, going up against Giulia, Stephanie Vaquer, Kelani Jordynne, ZARIA, and Jordynne Grace, former TNA Knockouts champion. All-star babyface tag team. And this was really a showcase for them. This was about getting them over. All of them got to do some impressive stuff in the match. All of them were showcased in this. That's what it was about. You got Stephanie smashing Jasmine Nix's head repeatedly into the mat. And then Fatal Influence tried to use the numbers game. And then everybody got in the ring. And then they were on the outside. Kelani Jordynne did a moonsault to everybody on the outside. Then Jordynne Grace got a hot tag after the break. Things broke down. Everybody's coming in, hitting their moves. Then we had Lash Legend and Jakota Jackson coming out there, and Giulia went after them. So she was out of the picture. Then it was down to ZARIA and Roxanne Perez. And then ZARIA accidentally speared Jordynne Grace, which I wonder if that's going to lead to something. Roxanne tried to hit the Pop Rocks, but ZARIA was able to counter it. And then she pinned Roxanne with her finisher, kind of like an F5 type maneuver. So yeah, ZARIA beats the current NXT women's champion. Both champions taking falls on this show to set up new challengers. And yeah, the 5 babyface women celebrate at the end. The women's division is stacked in NXT right now. And if you compare the two shows, like the women open the show and close the show, which is quite the contrast to AEW, where they have their usual 9:30, 9:40 spot. You cram in like 3 women's segments right there towards the end. So yeah, the NXT women's division pretty hot right now. And the nostalgia factor, it was a lot of fun. Like, as far as this show goes, like, I really enjoyed it. Like, this, you could just watch it. Even if you don't follow NXT, this was a lot of fun as a standalone show. I definitely recommend checking it out. I give it an A-. Like, it was a very entertaining show. Great usage of the ECW veterans. And I felt like they were like used in pretty much every segment. WWE found a way to utilize them throughout the entire show. They didn't feel like they were taking the spotlight from the current talent. Instead, they were there to enhance the current talent. And yeah, well done by everybody involved. A-, definitely a strong show from NXT. I think they beat out Dynamite, but Dynamite was solid too. All in all, a really good night of wrestling between the two shows. You had plenty of action on both shows. You got some surprise appearances. You got the return of Will Hobbs on AEW. So there's definitely a lot of newsworthy things that happened on both shows. But I would say NXT gets the win on this one. Maybe they had the advantage of all the nostalgia, but I think they did a great job showcasing their future stars. You know, the women's division, building up Javon Evans. You know, they're giving him the rub. Yeah. Thumbs up for both shows this week. Not too much negative to say. I enjoyed both shows, and I would recommend both, but especially NXT. All in all, I enjoyed the evening, even though it was a lot to get through. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed the recaps. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up like I mentioned earlier, and leave a comment. Let me know your favorite moment of the evening from either show or both shows. Let me know what you liked or maybe what you didn't like. Looking for your feedback on that. Have a great rest of your week, everyone. Stay safe, stay positive. I'll see y'all next time. Say yes to NoDQ.com. Take care, everyone.